Lagos, the voices you are hearing are the voices of the horsemen. I am joined by Bolarinwa, Christian, and Wande. Gentlemen, good morning to you three.
Good morning,
Lagos.
Lagos.
Good morning, Lagos.
All right. So Lagos, you know the drill. 0809-444-0981 for WhatsApp. We are streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/smooth981. Remember, follow us on Twitter at smooth981fm and also the website www.smooth91.fm. Gentlemen, let's start with the big news from yesterday. Dear President Buhari has signed the finance bill. I mean, we all know what's in the bill, but I mean, I guess we can still go over a couple of things here and there. Christian, we're complaining about something downstairs, you and I. So the impact on our pockets. But whoever wants to go first, what are your thoughts as far as what we're going to be seeing with this new finance bill that the president has signed?
Well, I think the interesting thing is that the presidency prided this administration for signing the finance bill alongside with the budget for 2020 being first time we'll be having a finance bill signed alongside the budget since 1999 when we got into democracy. And I think the good thing with this is that it's actually targeted at enhancing the revenue base of the government. There's been the clamor that the government needs to diversify its revenue base from oil dependent to non-oil, and we are beginning to see some traction in that direction, which I think is a good move on their parts. A couple of changes were made to what we had, one of which is what you may just mention now, which is the increase of the VAT from 5% to 7.5.
Right.
I think that is still one of the lowest in the world. So I know our listeners,
They don't want to hear that one.
being that we know what the impact will be on our disposable income eventually. But I think if this income will be deployed into revenue generating activities or infrastructure project, I think it's a step in the right direction. I think the challenge really has been, I don't think people have challenge with government increasing taxes, but the concern has been accountability. So you increase taxes, and we don't see the impacts really. So I think if the government can show itself to be accountable for this increase in their tax base, the tax rate and the tax bracket, I think people would not have a challenge with it. And a couple of other changes that were also made for businesses. They've now classified businesses into three categories. You have business companies that fall below the revenue base of 20 million. They are now exempted from paying taxes.
I think it's 25. 25,
Sorry,
yeah.
25,
Yeah,
25 million.
Yeah.
You have another, the second bracket falls within 20, above 25 million. Their own tax rate, I think, is about 20%.
Yeah.
Then the last category, those are the medium size business, while the large businesses are the ones that are saddled with the responsibility of paying 30%.
Yeah.
So I think that is good to encourage SMEs to grow. And also another point that you find in that bill is the exemption of dividend payment from additional taxes.
Okay.
Because before now, when dividends are declared and the payment surpass what was actually the dividend, the profit that was made within the financial year, the additional amount that was declared as dividend is taxed. But now that's because if you look at it, if the additional amount that was provided for dividend within a financial year was drawn from the reserve, it has previously been taxed. So it's more like a multiple
double taxation,
taxation on the same income. So now that has been taken off, and a couple of other changes that was made. I will allow Christian and Mwani to.
All right, real quick, let me just get into Benga Kamu's message here. I think it's echoing your thoughts. Let's see what Benga is saying here. Benga is saying, Rotus, the finance bill has been signed. We have entered a new season of taxes and levies. We hope the monies realized will be used for public good, not ferrying about people in presidential jets. I think he's referring to the president's daughter there. Ogban says, increase the revenue base of the country so it can be misspent and corrupted away. The government should focus on the efficiency of its spending, not the size of it. Thank you. Christian, anything else you want to add to this, to the bill?
Just to point out something. Initially, we were first informed that we take effect January 1st.
Yes.
So just like a week, 2 weeks after.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's effect.
True. But the good thing here is that there are changes now. Everybody has to adapt to it.
Okay, Christian, well, hang on a second. Olufemi sends a message. Good morning, Rotus and the crew. This is Olufemi. People don't want any tax increase because they know part of the increase will be used to pay the extravagant life pensions of former governors. So we can see people are already quite skeptical about this, but it's already been signed. I mean, it's already done. Christian, anything else?
It's funny that the same people who are complaining about this increased VAT and I mean, the same people who are also clamoring for increased minimum wage. This money has to come from somewhere.
It has to come from somewhere.
We need to be realistic. Whilst I'm not exactly pro-tax, I also see the need at this time for us to increase tax revenues.
Okay, I get you. Okay, so you understand what's needed and what's required. It's the reality of the situation.
It's something that we need to do at this time.
Gotcha. Okay, guys, the MPC meeting has been.
Sorry, and I think another thing that people will be excited about is the stamp duty, which has now been passed. So
yes,
the minimum expenditure that 50%, 15 naira applies to it is now 10,000 naira against 1,000 that we had before now.
People will definitely like that.
So that you can take it up with whosoever slams 15 naira on you.
Right, exactly. Dakbo sends in a message here. Hello, Rotus and the crew. The finance bill is good and kudos to the government. If we can direct similar efforts to power, these SMEs will thrive. Okay, guys, this one, I don't know. We can't really speculate much on what happened here, but apparently the central bank has shifted the MPC meeting by, I think it's a couple days. It was supposed to take place on the 20th and the 21st, yeah? Maybe that's what was in my mind when I said today was the 21st. Maybe I was thinking of the MPC. I was thinking of MPC meeting. But they moved it to the 23rd and 24th. It was on Twitter yesterday. If you're not following the central bank, everybody should be following the central bank on Twitter. So at Cenbank, so CENBANK. We don't have any reasons, yeah? Nobody knows. We don't know.
It's not like if it's, I'm just guessing it's maybe time frame or logistics problem. But basically, the distance between when it was moved.
Yeah.
It's nothing,
it's only
most likely logistics.
It's only a couple days. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Yinka has a message. This bill coming at the right time because we need to increase our revenue. It's not cheap running presidential jet for so everybody's on this jet. It's not cheap running presidential jet for someone. I didn't vote to use. Have you heard that 5 mentors can come together to bring someone to Canada? That's the way to go now after the presidential jet blues. Yeah, there's some new. I heard about that. Thanks, Yinka, online. There's a new thing with Canadian immigration. Anyway, guys, Yinka, thanks for your message. Everybody else is sending messages. Lek oil. Can we briefly discuss this? Why are you shaking your head and laughing? What happened with Lek oil? Lagos headline: Nigeria's Lek oil suspends shares after Qatari loan questioned. Who wants to help us out with what happened with Lek oil? One is you.
So, a few days ago, we were informed that the company needed funds.
They needed money.
To get loan.
Okay.
And
sorry, I mean the name is obvious, but Lek oil is a oil and gas.
Yeah, that's oil and gas.
Upstream. Okay, thank you. All right, go ahead.
And in the process of sourcing the funding, they require services of other firms, and due diligence was not duly done. Not duly done. And the process, it cost the firm $600,000.
Wow.
And it's one thing for it to happen to
An individual. Right.
But nothing for it to happen to a public listed
See,
company.
for help our listener, when you say they lost $600,000, they were. Can we go drill further into that?
They
They were jobbed. I mean, is that the word?
I won't use the word job. It was
Okay.
more or less like they were paying. They were paying services for
The loan. That they thought they were getting.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
To bridge the gap between them and the Qatari Investment Authority.
Right.
It's more or less like a middleman,
Right.
Call a lobbyist,
Right.
to help facilitate this kind of transaction. And the process, it seems that whoever
no Qatari investment firm existed.
And in the process, they have oil field, that ongoing field, and it's most likely going to be impacted. I think the share price has tanked.
Yeah.
But then, when you have initially when the news came out, they were getting funds for it.
Yes, we all heard the news. Yeah.
Share price went up, and now that it looks bad on two things. First, in Nigerian company.
Right.
Secondly, in Nigeria. I don't understand. For me, it's like, let me not be sarcastic in this regard, but it's unusual for Nigerians are usually.
Sounds like you're about to say. We're usually on the other side of such.
No, like diligent in such matters.
Right, and not being taken for a ride.
Exactly, that's the word.
Anything else you guys want to add on this?
Well, I think when the announcement came, that was January 2nd or thereabout, that they had secured 180 a deal of $180 million for the an exploration program on their OPL 310 block. I think it was an upside for the company. It impacted on their share price.
Yeah.
I think it's a case, just like one day said, is a case in which their so-called financial advisor scammed them, because that was what actually happened. So there was a financial advisor that worked with them with the name Seawave Invest
Limited,
a Ghanaian company that's actually, but it's quite funny because with my experience within this space, how you claim to have secured a facility of such nature and you don't have direct contact with the loan provider,
right?
To the point that you made an announcement and the company then came out and start questioning the authenticity of the announcement that you made, because ordinarily, even if you have an advisor in between you and the loan provider, at some point you get to meet the loan provider,
right?
So clearly this is quite a very funny event that has happened to a company of this magnitude that is even listed on the London's stock exchange market. So it's quite funny.
Again, it speaks to the management,
right?
Itself, what they tolerate, and for me, it's more or less like heads has to rule for such for that. And they should have like a lot of legal department
to be looking into these things.
So typical Nigerian mentality. Heads have to rule. Why? I mean, people made mistakes. Why not we look inwards? Correct.
The mistake cost 600,000, Christian. It's $600,000.
No, it even goes beyond the financial.
Reputational. I understand that it has reputational implications, right? It's not just the financial $700,000 loss. There's now the risk that if they want to do business with any other firm, that those ones will be going out of their way to do extraordinary checks with the company, because supposedly, I mean, if you had a proper corporate governance structure in place, this probably wouldn't have happened. But it's a mistake, and they have come out to admit that they made a mistake.
Why I say head has rule, we even hear of just simple sex scandals.
Yes.
And MDs or CEOs
have to
resign.
Why not? I think people should stay and be made to fix the rot that they sat on when it happened. Don't go away. Don't make someone go away and then bring someone in to come and clean up
make that person
mess. Yes, let him fix what he's done. Fix the wrong that he's done, and then he can be asked to go later. But this idea of because for me, I mean, it's enough reason for anybody to say, you know what, the worst that will happen is that they'll tell me to go, and I will go.
Right.
I don't think that's a proper mindset.
Okay, we'll see how things turn out. By the way, $600,000 is, if anyone is wondering, 216 million naira. So it's quite.
It's not so much now.
Not so much, I know. Moses here says the bill has a provision many are still not talking about. It supports investments in infrastructure and the capital market. It's a welcome development. A lot of people are still talking about this jet. It's good morning, Rosses and the guys from Darlington, from Apapa. Since the finance bill has been signed, we hope the funds generated will be used effectively and not on government's personal spending, such as flying jets for photo shoots. Again and again and again, Ike says the same thing. Okay, no, guys, nobody loves paying taxes in an environment where, oh, no, he does say the same thing. Ike says, guys, nobody loves paying taxes in an environment where the children of the tax collector are living large and flying jets. Jumoke says, increasing tax in Nigeria is like fumigating a house without nets or windows. Block the loopholes before increasing tax. That's a very nice analogy. What else do we have here? Isaac says here, good morning, Rotus and the gang. I smell fraud in this Lek oil transactions. I think Isaac is looking at the inside of the company and suspecting that somebody on the inside may have something to do with it. Again, no evidence to that, Isaac, but we'll see what still comes out of this. Let's see here. Henry says, heads having to roll is not a Nigerian thing, please. It's not a Nigerian thing. Okay, guys, let's see. Okay, still have a little bit of time here. Shall we discuss the richest man in Africa and his refinery? I think we'll spend the rest of the time on this. We have an article here saying, behind the hype, is Dangote's refinery a game changer? This is from David Hunde, our journalist. He wrote, this is in the Africa Report, pretty extensive article he's written here. I think he's saying that we might be putting too much hope in Dangote's refinery as far as foreign exchange earnings, as far as what he can do for us regarding our imports of refined fuel and so on and so forth. What do you think of the article? Who wants to take the Christian? What do you think?
I think it's a great article. He's done justice to the topic. What's important? What is important to me? What I take away from this article is the cost benefit analysis that the journalist has done.
Okay.
So he says when the refinery comes on stream, that Nigeria would be allocating about 470,000 barrels per day locally produced crude oil to the refinery. Right. Now, by implication, the NNPC, which ordinarily would have exported this crude oil, would be losing $11 billion of forex a year. Now, on the flip side, we will be saving $8.7 billion from not importing fuel.
Right.
PMS, HU, and kerosene. So it also means that the estimated 3.85 billion that we pay annually, like in 2019, to subsidize fuel, will be saved.
Okay.
So if you add the $8.7 billion that would save from importing fuel ordinarily, you add it to the subsidies ordinarily that we would have paid of 3.85 billion, we would have saved a total of $11.55 billion.
Okay.
This is as against the $11 billion we would lose from not exporting this crude oil.
Right.
Now it's important to note that Dangote refinery will be buying crude oil from Nigeria, as it were, at international market prices.
Right.
I think for us, this has reduced significantly a lot of cost.
Okay.
And more importantly, it kind of immunizes us from these fluctuations in the global oil market.
Right.
Yes, because if you have someone who can take off, so it's going to be like it's always been, but now it's like a more
off-taker.
Yes, a more straightforward off-taker. So it's moving straight from the NNPC to Dangote refinery, so we don't have to worry about cost of freight moving out of Nigeria to wherever, and then the thing with unsold cargoes, which sometimes can cause an overhang. All of that is going to be taken care of. So if you ask me, it's a positive, right? It's not even so much from the cost benefit analysis side, but generally the fact that we're no more dependent on other nations for PMS.
I think for me the key one is the key concern is about traffic. The Lekki Exeter assets.
With the tankers and everything, and during that
but then
direction.
what I've said is another axis from Ekpe Beju area, which will lead to Shagamu and out of. I don't think the concern is that grievous.
All right, well, Lagos, we'll share that article for you to read as well. We've run out of time. I want to thank Wane, Christian, and Bolanrewa for joining us, and everybody else for your messages as well. Business Express, we will catch you tomorrow. You all have a safe day out there. Thank you.